I suppose you could say it was perfectly balanced, as all things should be. What's up, guys? That guy with a pencil here. Fun fact, I did win two. Have it on me and keep it on me at all times. Another fun fact, I have 15 minutes to give you my thoughts, my review of Spider-Man Brand New Day. And, I like it, but I also don't. I think I like it more than I don't. So let's talk about it. First things first, how did it handle Spider-Man? The Peter Parker of it all. I think it handled it well, but at the same time, I think there is the weakness that I kind of expected the movie to have. And that's that it wouldn't have the time to commit to Peter Parker being alone because the movie was too afraid of Peter Parker being alone. And now, what do I mean by that? At its core, Spider-Man is a character heavily defined by his relationship to other people, right? The whole reason Spider-Man exists, at least in most continuities, is the loss of Uncle Ben. And you can definitely argue that's the same thing here, even though that character will never be mentioned. We don't even get a gravestone for the guy. Like, legit, it's bad. I mean, I did rewatch the movie. I only saw the movie once, literally last night. So, I mean, I remember, maybe we did see a Ben Parker, but, like, legit, that's what Spider-Man's whole thing is. His inception, his birth, is based on that idea. But, naturally, for this Spider-Man, truly, it is the loss of Aunt May that really defines the great power, great responsibility of it all. She's the one who says the line. But one of my main worries going into this movie was the idea that they weren't necessarily going to commit to that loneliness. And this idea was kind of spoiled by the nature of the cast itself. The idea that MJ was going to be in the movie kind of told me that, oh, we're gonna undo it, aren't we? And admittedly, I'll give the movie some props. This is where I like it, but I don't like it kicks in. Because they do commit to the bit in a very interesting way, using a very interesting character. And by the way, full spoilers for the entire movie. I hope you clicked on my thoughts / review video. I hope you know I'm about to spoil everything. But since I'm spoiling everything, I think how the movie uses Peter's isolation is intriguing. Obviously, it's meant to play into the idea of the evolution and the it's very weird though. I don't know how it handles the idea of Spider-Man's evolution and his furthering of power coming from his abandonment of the man, leading to his evolution as the spider, but then upon immediately seeking reconnection, instead of losing the dark, isolating strength that he gained from his isolation and his reinforcement and delving into the spider, he keeps it? But he just adds the man back? So essentially, I get it. It works because he re-adds the man to add to the addition to the spider. But I think the movie suffers from No Way Home coming out 5 years ago. And the idea that we basically did skip the entire college arc, as it were. Peter Parker wasn't allowed to be alone tangibly because of the nature of the cast and who's in it. Knowing that Zendaya, aka MJ, was going to be in this movie sort of told me that, oh, well, we're not actually going to see him be alone all too often, and shock horror, he was but wasn't. Peter gets to be alone off screen for maybe 5 years. It's implied that if MJ and Ned are at the end of their college journey, they're back from MIT and everything, and they're back in the city and this, that, and the third. Like, yeah, time has passed. But notably, nothing bad happens because of the time passed until the movie starts. And specifically, not even the movie starts, because Peter, while alone, is making this whole solo Spider-Man thing work. Sure, they play into the loneliness a little bit, because, like, there are people in his apartment that he doesn't really speak to, but that's, like, one girl that he doesn't say anything to. Otherwise, everything's fine. He's physically doing fine. His evolution is doing fine. He only begins to really experience the proper loneliness of it all beyond slight headaches here and there, which are hinted at, not necessarily shown, or spoken of, very much tell, don't show, by a character who I like. I like the police chief character, whose name I completely forget. I'm pretty sure is a reference to the comics. I don't think it's Watanabe. It's not that. But that aside, they don't commit. And MJ is the source of, the evolution. And I don't like it. I don't like it, but it leads to something interesting. And that's the utilization of Jean Grey, right? This is a Spider-Man movie. But it's also a Jean Grey intro film, and using Jean as an antagonist is very interesting. Very specifically, as much as I don't like that MJ and Ned were still the core centerpiece of this movie, because I was really hoping Peter would, I don't know, either actually just be alone for an entire film, but of course they weren't going to commit to that, or specifically he would have a new cast in a hypothetical college arc, but of course we couldn't commit to that. We had to skip 4 years, or multiple years into the future. Her being the point of reconnection for Peter, I actually like. And that's the thing, that's where I like, as much as I don't like the fact that they couldn't commit to Peter being alone for one singular movie, the way that Jean utilizes it, I very specifically think of the scene where she possesses MJ, pretends that the spell came undone the second she saw Peter's face, and then made them kiss. That's just very weird and uncomfortable, and I do like that. It's a very interesting way to utilize Jean Grey as a character. Jean Grey is a lot of things in the comics. A lot of things. But very specifically how she's utilized here, I actually really, really like. She's a fantastic antagonist. But this goes into the idea that I say it's a Spider-Man movie, but not really. Because as cool as it is to intertwine Jean Grey into the narrative and utilize her as an antagonist, that's not a Spider-Man character. Like, I don't know. It feels like, I mean, it works because fortunately, Spider-Man Brand New Day is in the wider scope of the MCU, building right up to Doomsday and then Secret Wars and the incursions and all that. So, like, it did need to introduce multiverse stuff and sort of build to the idea of the mutants and stuff like that and them existing in the world. So, like, it works, and it's cool they did that, but I don't know, man. It doesn't necessarily feel Spider-Man, if that makes sense. But also, obviously, because Jean Grey is such a massive character on her own, that once you figure out Sadie Sink is playing Jean Grey, which, like, everyone figured out before the movie even came out, then you sort of disconnect. But at the same time, I really like her integration. I think she's fantastically written and fantastically acted, and very specifically, her final scene with Peter and her going into his mind and experiencing the conversation that May had with him after the identity reveal is great, and it builds on the ideas of the specialness and the uniqueness, but still the core humanity of these superpowered individuals. That's good, and that's where I'm back and forth, right? I don't like the idea that they didn't commit to keeping Spidey alone, but that's not necessarily a bad thing for the writing. It just makes it feel like, you know, No Way Home didn't really matter, especially the end with Ned seemingly remembering everything through the handshake and seeing Peter's face and hearing Peter's name. Like, I don't know, it just feels like we couldn't commit. It feels like we couldn't do something new. There's not much Brand New Day in the Brand New Day, right? And sure, there are aspects of that I like. I do like Frank Castle's integration into the movie. Personally, how Frank Castle's been handled by the MCU is kind of but it's specifically how he's utilized in this movie and is allowed to do all the lethal Frank Castle things, because he's fighting characters like the Hulk, he's fighting characters like Spider-Man. That's nice. And ultimately, I do like, even if it is entirely implied to be off screen and we're very much told about it and not shown what happened at Staten Island, I do like that they do have a dynamic. It's neat. It's cool. I like it. Once again, the character interplay, the acting in this movie, I think is fantastic. Like, I don't have a single claim about a bad performance. No, like, legit, I was thinking, like, is there one? Not really. I think everything's well done, acting-wise, in this movie. And honestly, probably my favorite depiction of John Bernthal's Punisher so far, even if it still feels very flanderized from the original comics version of the character. But that aside, MJ and Ned's integration into the narrative is where I'm like, but that's the thing. I don't want to, and this is the issue I always have personally. Just because something didn't go the way I wanted it to, does that make it bad? No. So, how MJ's used specifically, I like, but I don't like? I don't know, it's weird. Because, like I said, there's that really uncomfortable scene where she's essentially forced to kiss Peter. She doesn't remember it. And that way, that plays into the narrative and how that allows Peter to figure out, what's his name? I don't even remember his name. Like, sure, whatever. I'm glad he was there. But the director guy was like, that's cool. I like that. I do like the uncomfortable, but see, that's the thing. That is good. And they did come in. You know what? As I talk about it, and this is one thing, I should have talked about it a little bit more with the homie to really solidify my thoughts. Because I do like that idea of that familiarity yet unfamiliarity that both Peter and MJ and Peter and Ned had with each other when they knew his name, like when MJ figured out that he was Peter Parker based on like their interactions and stuff like that, and read the letter while he was away fighting Hulk and this, that, and the third. And I'll talk about Hulk's integration in the movie in a second. All that's good. So I like that. And I love the natural chemistry and the back and forth and how you can see that there still is that like that tie, even if it was erased, it was still there. It goes into the idea of like kind of like how even if you don't remember the specific details of something, the feelings behind it and the core connection of who you are as a person will always be there. I don't remember every single instance of interaction with my best friend, but no matter what, that's my homie. That's my brother from another mother. That's the dog. And there's that idea being well portrayed there. And I love the humanity in that. That's really good. That's really good. And I think that's where I'm coming towards the positivity on the movie more and more when I think about it. It's very good emotionally. How Hulk is used as he's always used, man. He's a temporary obstacle to show up for a little bit and do a little thing and then get removed from the plot. Like that, it's fine. It's what? Who holds the right? Universal? It's the Universal Hulk situation. It's always going to be like that, forever eternal. Like, that's just kind of how it goes. But I think where this most, and hey, shout outs to Sarah Gray. I didn't know this character was real. That's I'm a fake fan. When they said Sarah Gray, that's a character, I was blown away. It didn't even click for me that was even a thing. But that aside, I think that's where I feel about the movie generally. Emotionally, it worked. I ain't tear up or nothing, but it did get me. Very specifically, how Spider-Man and Jean were able to connect through that. The way that both were operating in ways that truly, we don't know enough about this version of Jean Grey, but I highly doubt that the Jean Grey that we know in most cases would do the things that the Jean Grey in this movie was doing while she was portrayed more as an antagonist, but the emotional understanding behind the dark choices that she makes, that works. The way that Peter was operating in response to her, due to all the stress and the unknowns and the separation, that works. The way they have a very interesting dynamic, low-key, am I a fighty ship or not? I don't know. Something in my toe. I actually like the chemistry between Sadie Sink and Tom. I low-key liked it. But that aside, all that is good. It emotionally resonates very, very well. I think I can't, but you know what, funnily enough, I can't even really say that in a way that No Way Home, once I thought about it more and more, I was like, oh, this movie just doesn't really make sense. It's fine in terms of the logical structure of it all. Do I wish there was more showing and not telling? Yes. Do I wish that there was more dedication to Peter's isolation and maybe not skipping 4 years, maybe at least just taking one film off from MJ and Ned being major characters? Yes. Do I wish there was like a new day, as in like maybe new cast, new time, some separation, maybe an actual college arc? Yes. I wish for all of that. But for the movie to do what it did in the way that it does in a grander universe, which is what I always need to remember that this is, it works. Is it my favorite Spider-Man movie of all time? No. Once again, because of how it's structured in the grand scheme of things, it's not even fully a Spider-Man movie. Once again, Jean Grey's just a little bit too big. she's a little bit too big to just be like, yeah, this is a Spider-Man movie. It's a Spider-Man / Jean Grey X-Men movie. But for it to emotionally resonate with me as much as it did, for me to really appreciate how the characters bounce off and interplay off each other, that's good. That's good. And while it doesn't commit to basically anything of actually giving Peter a new, oh no, see, actually no, the more I don't like that. See, this is the issue with me only having 15 minutes, because one thing I really don't like that Peter has an AI. I don't like that Peter has built everything. He has a fabricator. I don't like all that. I really, really don't like that. I don't like that at all, because, once again, stripping Peter down seemed to be the point of No Way Home, but when he was stripped, we didn't see anything of him struggling to get back to that point. Peter's fine. And then we have the movie to see him struggle a little bit with not being fine, and then that immediately gets resolved by the end of the movie, because he has everything back again already. He doesn't have the Stark tech back, but he might as well have never lost it with what kind of advanced tech he has in the movie anyway. And that I don't like. That's what I don't like. So, and I think that's where I am with Brand New Day. I like what it does on a character level generally. I think it is a good emotional feel movie. It made me feel things, which which hasn't happened since Guardians 3. So like, it's been a minute since I felt things. But what I do not like the movie for, what I will fault it for eternally, is its unwillingness to commit to the interesting premise of No Way Home. It feels like it didn't want to do that because it was too scared of the audience losing faith when it's Spider-Man. We would have had faith. We would have loved to see Peter get it out the mud. We would have loved to see Peter truly be alone, at least for one movie. But of course we can't commit to that, and we have other things to set up, so we had to set them up. But I am now out of time. But those are my thoughts on the movie. Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I may end up doing a longer review the more I think about this. I'm gonna have to bounce this off the homeboy. Wow. But I'm gonna have to bounce this off the homeboy a bit, get some more thoughts on it, just to get a general purview. This is my like raw thoughts of just seeing the movie last night. I didn't look up any reviews. I didn't look up anything else. This is literally just all my thoughts, stream of consciousness. So I may need a more solid review. If you guys want a more solid review, let me know. I probably just need to see the movie again, just to like fully soak it in one more time and talk about it more. But if you made it all the way to this video, please leave not a new day. Not a new day in the comment section down below. I want to thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That Guy with the Pencil, writing off.